Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama, Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya.
Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad-Bhagavatam Grace Vishwaguru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad-Bhagavatam Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur-Nitai Ki Jai. Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 18. Antaha Purusha Rupena Antapurusha Rupena Antapurusha Rupena Kala Rupena Yaha Bahihi Kala Rupena Yo Bahihi Kala Rupena Yo Bahihi Samanveti Yesha Sattvanam Samanvetyesha Sattvanam Samanvetyesha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Antapurusha Rupena Kalurupena Yo Bahihi Samanvetyesha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Antapurusha Rupena Kalarupena Yo Bahihi Samanvetyesha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya
Antapurusha Rupena Kala Rupena Yo Bahihi Samanvetyesha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya
Antapurusha Rupena Kala Rupena Yo Bahi Samanvati Esha Sattvanam Bhagwan Atma Mayaya
Anta Purusha Rupena Kala Rupena Yo Bahi Samanveti Esha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya.
Antaha within Purusha Rupena in the form of Super Soul, Kala Rupena in the form of time, Yaha he who, Bahihi without, Samanveti exists, Yeshaha he, Sattvanam of all living entities, Bhagavan the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Atma Mayaya by his potencies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. By exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, keeping himself within as the Super Soul and without as time. Kindly repeat. By exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, keeping himself within as the Super Soul and without as time. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here it is stated that within the heart, the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides as the Super Soul. This situation is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. The Super Soul rests beside the individual soul and acts as a witness. This is also confirmed elsewhere in the Vedic literature. Two birds are sitting on the same tree of the body. One is witnessing and the other is eating the fruits of the tree. This Purusha or Paramatma who resides within the body of the individual soul is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse number 23, as the Upadrashta, witness, and the Anumanta, sanctioning authority. The conditioned soul engages in the happiness and distress of the particular body given him by the arrangement of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Living Being or the Paramatma, he is different from the conditioned soul. He is described in Bhagavad Gita as Maheshwara or the Supreme Lord. He is Paramatma, not Jivatma. Paramatma means the super soul who is sitting by the side of the conditioned soul just to sanction his activities. The conditioned soul comes to this material world in order to lord it over material nature. Since one cannot do anything without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, he lives with the Jiva soul as witness and sanction giver. He is also Bhokta. He gives maintenance and sustenance to the conditioned soul. Since the living entity is constitutionally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is very affectionate to the living entities. Unfortunately, when the living entity is bewildered or illusioned by the external energy, he becomes forgetful of his eternal relationship with the Lord. But as soon as he becomes aware of his constitutional position, he is liberated. The minute independence of the conditioned soul is exhibited by his marginal position. If he likes, he can forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead and come into the material existence with a false ego to lord it over material nature. But if he likes, he can turn his face to the service of the Lord. The individual living entity is given that independence. His conditional life is ended, and his life becomes successful as soon as he turns his face to the Lord. But by misusing his independence, he enters into material existence. Yet, the Lord is so kind that as super soul, he always remains with the conditioned soul. The concern of the Lord is neither to enjoy nor to suffer from the material body. He remains with the Jiva simply as sanction giver and witness, so that the living entity can receive the results of his activities, good or bad. Outside the body of the conditioned soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as the time factor. According to the Sankhya system of philosophy, there are 25 elements. The 24 elements already described plus the time factor make 25. According to some learned philosophers, the super soul is included to make a total of 26 elements. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Recently, what has been dominating the news on the Indian subcontinent has been the terror attack which happened in Kashmir, Pahalgam. Almost 26 people were killed, tourists, innocent people. They were targeted by the terrorists who mercilessly shot dead all these innocent people. In the wake of this terrorist attack, there have been different reactions from different quarters. And if you see internationally also, there was a lot of condemnation of this terror attack. Different communities, everybody have condemned this terror attack, senseless attack, murdering innocent people. And many Indians have been very vociferously exhorting the central government, even the opposition party also, unusually, exhorting the government that we have to take such an action as to teach Pakistan, who is behind this terror attack, a suitable lesson. Some of the survivors of the victims of the terror attack, the relatives, they are all saying, many of them are saying, we are waiting for the government, we want the government to take such an action to teach the perpetrators of this violence a very good lesson. We want justice, things like that. Internationally, some nations are saying that India should exercise restraint. They should try to pursue justice, not through violence, but through other means. We don't want a war in this region. Other nations are saying India is fully justified to take whatever action it feels necessary to safeguard the security of its citizens. One of the relatives of the victims recently said that so many days over, the government has not acted, the government has not done anything, and we are not feeling that we have got justice. Meaning the terrorists have not been apprehended, no action, no tangible action we can see has been taken against the enemy country and things like that. Of course, the government has announced they will close down the Indus Water Treaty, they have closed down the border, they have said no more trade and all those kind of things. But that's still not satisfying. We don't feel enough has been done. That's one victim. I mean, one relative of one victim. Another relative is saying that we don't want violence. We want just martyr status for our relative who has died. That's enough for us. And in the midst of all of this, the defense minister is saying that what you want will be achieved. Just wait. We are on the job. It is my duty to respond. And I will definitely do something. Wait and watch. So you can see different quarters, different people, different reactions, and different expectations. Now just put yourself in the seat of the Prime Minister. What should the Prime Minister do? If the Prime Minister declares war on Pakistan, what will happen? All over the world will get divided into two. One set of people supporting India, and another set of people saying that no, you should not resort to this violence. You should use the international court of justice and all those kind of things. That you should go to the UN, you should take diplomatic action. These are things what are required. The whole world will get divided into two. In India also, you will see. Forget about outside, external world. Okay, they have different reasons for supporting or not supporting. But within India itself, there will be different reactions from different people. Some people will say, yes, this is the right thing, teach them a lesson. Somebody is telling, enter Pakistan and split it into two. All these kind of rhetoric you can hear. There is one set of people who will be very much in support of this. There will be another set of people who will say, why all this violence? Already so many people have died because of this violence. More innocent people are going to suffer. Let's not have any violence. There will be another set of people. There will be another set of people, even if you go into Pakistan, split into two, even after that some people will say, still we feel justice is not done. So what should the Prime Minister do? He cannot satisfy everyone, isn't it? It's impossible. You can imagine, Prime Minister, the most powerful person in the country, one of the biggest democratic nations in the world, even today India's Prime Minister is considered one of the most powerful politicians and the leaders in the whole world. So even one of the most powerful leaders in the world cannot satisfy everyone. You can imagine if this is the condition of the most powerful person in the country, what about ordinary people? Even ordinary people within their family, you will see. There will be one family of 4 people, husband, wife and 2 children. Now the mother will be cooking for everybody in the family. Now all of the 4 people will have 4 different tastes. If the mother cooks according to one child's taste, the other child and the father will get upset. Now if she cooks according to her husband's taste, the 2 children will get upset. You cannot satisfy everyone. It is a nightmare. It is a real nightmare. So individual people, you can see how from a small family up to a whole country and even the whole world for that matter, the expectations are too much. The demands are too much from each individual. It is impossible to practically satisfy everyone. This is the reality. And we are talking only of the human society. We are talking only of the human society, and that also mostly amongst the adults. Children, of course, small children, they don't have a voice. You don't expect them to come out and protest and things like that. So, a small section of this world of human beings, it is impossible to satisfy everyone. Now, in the commentary to the Srimad-Bhagavatam, one of the acharyas, he has made a verse. He has written a verse. He has composed a verse which says that Keshagra Shatabhagasya Shatamsha Sadrishaha, that the living entity Sukshma Swarupoyam, the living entity is Sukshma Swarupa. The living entity is very, very minute. So minute that Keshagra Shatabhagasya Shatamshaihi Sadrishaha, the magnitude of the living entity, the spirit soul, is like the portion that will come if you divide the tip of the hair into 1/10,000 parts. That 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair, you can imagine how minute it will be. You will have to look into an electron microscope maybe to be able to see the 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair. And I don't know if with the electron microscope also you can see such a minute thing. But the idea given is the magnitude of the spirit soul is like that. Very, 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 very minute, very infinitesimal. At the same time, although it is so minute, Shatamshaihi Sadrishaha, although it is so minute, at the same time what happens? It is Sankhya-chito Chitkanaha. The living entities is Chitkana. It is full of consciousness. That Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai. That minute living entity within the body, it is because of its energy of consciousness, it is able to achieve wonderful things in this material world. We can build aeroplanes, we can build skyscrapers, we can make even a nuclear bomb which can destroy hundreds of thousands of people at one shot. This is the power which is displayed by that minute living entity, because it is chit kana, it is a particle of consciousness. It is not some dead matter. A dead matter like this piece of steel or plastic cannot exhibit such power. And although the living entity is so infinitesimal, it is so minute, it can run even the body of an ant as well as that of an elephant. You see, this is so wonderful how the living entity can act. And not only that, Sankhyatito, if you want to count the number of living entities, it is Sankhya Atita. It is beyond counting. You cannot count. The number of living entities is incredible. It is impossible to count. It is infinite. We were talking about the number of human beings. Human beings in India, it is about 140 crore estimated population. All over the world, it is about 800 crores. So that's the number of human beings. That itself is a big number. Now, if you take all the living entities, all the birds, plants, bees, aquatics, germs, microbes, bacteria, viruses, if you count all these things, then impossible to arrive at a number. You can count the number of human beings and say approximately 800 crore. Because every second also some number of human beings are being born. So we cannot say exactly this is the number. It is going on increasing. And so many people are dying also. So you can say approximately 800 crore. But if you want to arrive at the total number of living entities, including the plants, trees, birds, everything, impossible. And we are speaking of just one earth in one universe. Now imagine all the number of living entities in all the planets, and that is one universe, and so many living entities in so many universes. Finished. That's why the Acharyas are stating, Sankhyatitaha, it is impossible to count. And these living entities, what is happening in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 61st verse, Krishna says, that Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. All these living entities, they are occupying the body, yantrarudhani, like a machine, like a car. You get into a car or a bus, and then within the car you are sitting and you are driving the car wherever you want, whatever destination you want to reach. So like that, the living entity is occupying the body. Yantrarudhani, the machine of the body, the living entity is occupying. And what is happening? Brahmayan, it is wandering in different species of life. Sometimes the living entity is born as a human being, like all of us are born as human beings now. But next birth, what is the guarantee that we will again get the human form of life? No guarantee. We may get the body of an animal, we may get the body of a plant, we may get the body of a fish, we may get the body of some tree. There is no guarantee what body we will get. It is all dependent on what kind of activities we perform in this life. If somebody is there who is attached to eating anything and everything, no restriction, he will eat whatever you put on his plate. He will go to all kinds of restaurants, eat meat and eat non-vegetarian food stuff, eat all kinds of things. What will happen? Next life he will get the body of a pig. Why in the human form of life you have to try eating all different kinds of things? Take the body of a pig. You can eat even up to stool, no problem. Whatever you want, you eat. All garbage you eat, no problem. So nature, Mother Nature will give you a body according to the kind of activity you like to do. So, Brahmayan Sarvabhutani, all the living entities are wandering in different kinds of bodies like this. But how are they wandering? By their own choice? No. Brahmayan, they are being made to wander like this. Because all of us, we are born not according to our choice. Like in the US, one lady put a court case against her parents. Why? Because she said, without asking me, you gave birth to me. How can you do that? Without my consent, you gave birth to me. So she has put a case on the parents. You have to give me compensation. So actually fact is, nobody in this world, whether human being, animal, plant, whatever it is, no living entity is born in this material world according to his choice. Nobody determines who his parent should be, what kind of body he should get, whether human, animal, plant. Nobody asked us. Nobody asked us whether we want a male body or a female body. Nobody asked us, do you want to be born in Chennai or in Bangalore or in Bombay? Where do you want to be born? Nobody asked us. Nobody even asked us whether you want to be born in India or somewhere else. So, without our asking, we were forced to take birth in the body which we currently possess. So, Brahmayan, we are being forced to take birth. Now, who is forcing us? Krishna is saying, Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. The Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is seated in the heart of each and every living entity. And he is causing the wanderings of the living entities all over the world, taking different kinds of bodies. Now the question comes, why is God doing this? Why is the Supreme Personality of Godhead making us wander like this without our consent, forcing us to undergo all these things? Looks like God is a tyrant, he is a despot, he is a sadist. He wants to make us suffer and he is enjoying, watching. So is that what he is? Actually, the truth is explained by Krishna in the 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter, in the 22nd verse, Krishna says, Purushaha prakritistohi bhunkte prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. So Krishna says, Purushaha prakritistohi bhunkte prakritijan gunan. Purushaha means the living entity is in this material world, is immersed in material nature. Prakriti, prakritistaha. He is situated within the material nature in this material world. So, and material nature is conducting everything which goes on around us. Prakritistohi bhunkte purushaha prakritistohi bhunkte prakritijan gunan. And the living entity is trying to enjoy the three modes of material nature. Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. With these three modes of material nature, the living entity is trying to enjoy different things, different types of food, different types of activities, and all the different propensities that we see of people in this material world. Their different likings and dislikings, they are all arising on account of the three modes of material nature: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. So the living entity is trying to enjoy by using the three modes of material nature. And then karanam guna sangosi, because the living entity has chosen to associate itself. All of us, we have chosen to associate with the three modes of material nature to enjoy material sense gratification. That's how we are originally situated in the spiritual world. We have descended from the spiritual world to the material world in order to fulfill our propensity, our desire to enjoy within the material world. And karanam guna sangosi, because we have decided to associate with the three modes of material nature, what happens? Sadasad yoni janmasu, we are forced to take birth in lower and higher species of life. Sometimes we are taking birth as devatas, demigods. Sometimes we are taking birth as human beings, and sometimes we are taking birth even lower as plants, animals, birds, etc. So, Sat, Asat, Yoni, Janmasu. We are forced to take birth in different species. How? Because of our own decision to associate with the three modes of material nature and the different activities we carry out in the material world in association, in contact with the three modes of material nature. So now you can imagine this whole this whole universe, which is filled with innumerable living entities, all of them having their own independent desires, and every living entity is having his own program how to enjoy within this material world. And all of them have to undergo repeated birth and death according to the activities and propensities and desires that they possess. And all of these is being orchestrated by whom? Ishvaraha hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati Brahmayan sarvabhutani. This is all orchestrated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in the heart of each and every living entity as Super Soul. Now you can imagine, one hand, one Prime Minister in one country, he cannot satisfy everyone. One mother in one family, she cannot satisfy everyone in the family. So nobody can satisfy everybody. And here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the Super Soul, as the Paramatma, has to satisfy the desires of each and every living entity. Can you imagine the humongous task? So what happens? We think, oh, maybe what is happening is Krishna must be going mad with all the calculations, the permutations, the combinations, the innumerable desires. He has to keep track of every desire of the living entity. And you cannot satisfy all the desires simultaneously. No, one after the another only you can satisfy. Now you are walking on the street, you see one bird flying. If only I could live freely like this bird, carefree life. Immediately Paramatma is recorded. Some lifetime I have to give you the body of a bird. And then you'll be walking along, and then you will see on TV some, National Geography will be going, the channel will be going on. It will show one cheetah running at a very high speed. If only I could run like that. Immediately Paramatma records, okay, he wants to be a cheetah. One body I have to give him, one birth I have to give him. Now we cannot give next birth both body of cheetah and that of bird. You can give only one at a time. Like this, we keep desiring so many things, and for each desire, the Paramatma, if he has to satisfy, it is not possible within one birth. And every moment we are creating new desires, so to keep track of the whole thing. And then work out a program schedule. Scheduling is not so easy. Some of you who are working, you will know how difficult it is to schedule. And once you schedule, to keep up that schedule is another thing altogether. Nobody will ever be able to maintain the schedule that they make. Always you have to keep revising, you have to keep postponing, isn't it? So imagine the Lord, Paramatma, is making a schedule for all the living entities to satisfy their desires. For one person itself, it will be mind-boggling. For the number of desires he comes up with in one day, forget about in a lifetime of 100 years. And you can imagine, infinite number of living entities, all of them having their desires and programs. What must God be going through? He must be really going mad. How is he able to manage? He must be making a lot of mistakes, a lot of mix-ups. All this must be going on. No, Krishna says in the 23rd verse of the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna continues saying that Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmeti Chapyukto Dehesmin Purushaha Paraha. Krishna says that Paramatma, who is there within the heart, he is Upadrashta, he is the witness, he is witnessing all the desires and activities of the living entity. And according to the desires and activities, Krishna is sanctioning. Upadrashta Anumanta, he is sanctioning also which desires have to be fulfilled, what kind of body he has to get. Brahmayan Sarvabhutani, deciding which life he has to take next, where he has to born, who his parents are going to be, what kind of body he has to get, which gender he will belong to, which nation he will belong to, which universe he will belong to. Everything Krishna is sanctioning. At the same time, Bharta, he is also maintaining all the living entities. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. We think, we humans, we are a small percentage of the total number of living entities. And we think, I have to go to office, I have to work, I have to earn money, I have to do this business, I have to create a startup, otherwise I will not be able to eat food. This is what we think. We are a very small, minute number of portion of the total number of living entities. You look at all the animals living in the jungle. An elephant, every day he has to eat almost a ton of food. Elephant is not thinking, where will I go and work? Which factory will I go? Which company will give me 1 ton of food every day? Elephant is not thinking. Elephant doesn't even bother to go anywhere and work. Elephant in the forest is carefree, walking around. Every day its food is guaranteed. And like this, there are thousands of elephants in the forest. There are thousands of other animals. All of them are getting their food and maintenance. They have their place of shelter, their cave, their nest, whatever it is. They all have their residence, they all have their food, they all have their mates, they all have their offsprings, families, everything is there. None of the animals think of how to maintain themselves. So, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. Who is maintaining them? God is maintaining them. Krishna is maintaining them. But we humans, we are so advanced, we start thinking that no, I have to maintain myself. This is a very big illusion. Actually, we cannot maintain ourselves. It is the Paramatma, Upadrashta, Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta. Bharta, he is the maintainer. And Bhokta, he is the actual enjoyer. Everything is meant for his pleasure. But we think it is for my pleasure. This is the illusion. And Bharta, Bhokta, not only that, the Paramatma is Maheshwaraha. He is the supreme controller. Everything is within his control. Again, we think we are the controllers, but so many things are not in our control. Even the time at which we get up in the morning is also not in our control. We'll put the alarm. When the alarm rings, we'll switch off the alarm and again go to sleep. Not in our control what time to get up. Isn't it? So you see, even our body is not in our control. We desire, when we see some plate of good food, we want to eat it. We'll eat it. And after that, what will happen? We'll have indigestion. We are not in control of our body. So we think we are controlling, but actually we are not controllers. Whereas the Paramatma is actually the supreme controller, Maheshwaraha. And therefore, Paramatmeti Chapyuktaha. He is called Paramatma. We are called Atma. He is called Paramatma. He is the supreme soul. Because he is the supreme controller. And at the same time, what is the Dehesmin Purushaha Paraha. And where is this Paramatma residing? Like Krishna said, he is situated in the heart of every living entity. Ishwaraha Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. So he is seated within the heart. He is within the same body as I, the living entity, am seated. But the difference between me and him, there is one very big difference. What is that? Dehesmin Purushaha Paraha. He is the Parapurusha. He is the Paramapurusha. He is the supreme living entity. Whereas we are all ordinary living entities. We are not the controllers. We are not the maintainers. We are not the enjoyers. So, this position belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, you see how the Lord is not only just satisfying the desires of the living entities, and He is not only just sanctioning whatever the living entity has to undergo. He also has to keep track, he has to witness. So many things are involved. So it is an incredible task. It is not ordinary. So Krishna must be really sweating, working hard day in and day out. And you want to go and meet him, Krishna will say, sorry, I don't have time here. So much work is there. All pending files are all piling up on my desk. First I have to, remove all the files. I have no time. No, go. You can imagine everybody, just take one temple, Tirupati. Tirupati Balaji, you go, lakhs of visitors every day are visiting that temple. And every person has a prayer to offer to Tirupati Balaji. And that's just one temple in one country, in one earth. And you can imagine everywhere everybody is praying to God. And imagine the number of prayers he has to process, one after the other. Prayer after prayer is coming. He has to keep track of all of them. And Tirupati Balaji is satisfying people also. He is hearing their prayers. He is satisfying them. That's why people are coming again and again. So how he is able to do this? He is not like an officer sitting on his desk or a judge sitting in court. So many cases have got piled up. So when you go and apply to the court for justice, your case will come up after 1 year, 2 years. Why? Because the judge is too busy. He has got too many cases pending with him. So for your case to come up for hearing, God alone knows when it will happen. That's why in India you will see cases will take 10 years, 20 years, 50 years to get adjudicated. But God, He is processing so many prayers, requests. How is He doing all these things? So Krishna, where does He have time to do all these things? So in the Brahma Samhita, in the 5th chapter, 37th verse, it is stated, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabir Yayeva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Yeva Nivasatya Gilatmabhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. But Lord Brahma is submitting his prayers. Lord Brahma is saying, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I am rendering my prayers. I want to do devotional service to Govinda, who is Adi Purusha. He is the primeval living entity. He is the source of all other living entities. Adi Purusha. Tamaham Bhajami. That Govinda, who is the primeval supreme personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes, I want to render devotional service to Him. I am rendering devotional service to Him. I am praying to Him. And who is that Govinda? Akhilatma Bhutaha. He is the super soul. He is present as the Paramatma within the heart of every living entity. Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. Paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purushaha paraha. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Paramatma is sitting in the heart of each and every living entity. So where is this Govinda? He has already distributed in the hearts of all living entities. Correct? But then he is saying, Goloka Yeva Nivasati, Akhilatma Bhutaha. Although Krishna as Paramatma is seated in the heart of each and every living entity, at the same time, what is happening? Goloka Yeva Nivasati. Krishna is still personally residing in Goloka Vrindavan, which is his supreme abode. And what is he doing there? He's sitting in his office with a desk filled with supercomputers, calculating at great speed. This person has to be sanctioned this request, that person has to be sanctioned that request, and this person has to get this form of life. Is he doing all that calculation? No, he is not bothered. What is he doing? Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabir Yeva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi. So he is surrounded by Pratibhavitabhis, by those who are imbued, by devotees who are imbued with what? Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. They are imbued with his own pleasure potency. And who are these devotees of Krishna who are surrounding him in Goloka Vrindavan? They are all Swayam Rupataya Kalabhihi. They are his own personal expansions. So Krishna, his pleasure potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, his pleasure potency, his own pleasure potency, has expanded his form into multiple gopis who are surrounding Krishna and constantly engaged in pleasure pastimes with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is simply enjoying with the gopis. That's the only thing he is doing. At the same time, simultaneously, Akhilatma Bhutaha, he is also present in the heart of each and every living entity as Paramatma. How is this possible? We cannot be in two places at the same time, no. Even if you are the Prime Minister of the country, You can only listen to a few people at a time. You cannot listen to everyone, you cannot satisfy everyone. And you cannot be present at each and every location, hearing each and every person's desire. Right? It's not possible, humanly impossible. But Krishna is doing it. He is situated by himself in Goloka Vrindavan, enjoying with his gopis. Simultaneously, he is spread in the heart of each and every living entity as Paramatma. How is this possible? That is described in the Shastras, that Ekadesha Sthitasyagne Jyotsna Vistarni Yatha Parasya Brahmanaha Shakti Tathedam Akhilam Jagat. Just like you take a fire, you take a flame. Now suppose during winter you are feeling very cold. What do? You want warmth, you want heat. Generally in the European countries you go, you will see olden houses if you go. In the house there will be a fireplace. Because in the West, the temperatures go very low. During winter it becomes very cold, freezing. It will be snowing. So every house in the olden days, they didn't have electricity. So they would have a fireplace. And there will be a chimney coming out of that fireplace. And every day in the evening during winter, or whenever it becomes cold, they would put some firewood there and they would light it. And by that what will happen? The room will become warm. So you can imagine. So it's a very normal thing, right? Even in India, of course the facilities are not so great. So if you go especially to North India during winter, temperatures will drop to 5 degrees, 10 degrees centigrade. At that time, if you go to North India, you will see many people, they will put some wood, some scrap wood, some pieces of paper, all that they'll put. They will light a fire and they'll be sitting around that. So if you are a little more if you have a little more facility, what you will do? In the house, you will create a fireplace. Now, what is your objective? The room should become warm. Now, to make the room, you don't have to set the whole room on fire. Right? You light a fire in the fireplace. One corner of the room, you light a fire. What happens? The whole room will become warm. The fire is located. Ekadesha Sitasyagne. The Agni, the fire is situated in one place. The flame, you can see, the fire is situated in one place. But the heat coming from the fire is spreading all over the room. The fire doesn't have to spread itself all over the room to spread heat. Fire is situated in one place. But by its energy, it spreads heat all through the room. Ekadesha Sitasyagne Jyotsna Vistarni Yatha. Similarly, the fire will spread light also. You light a candle, suppose in the night there is a blackout, power blackout. What you will do? You will light one candle. The moment you light a candle, the room will become lit up. So you don't have to light up the whole room. You don't have to put a flame you don't have to put fire to the whole room to light up the room. Not required. One corner, one candle you burn, that flame is burning in one corner, it is spreading light all through the room. So light and heat are the energies of the fire. So you can imagine a small fire, which is a material element, it can spread itself throughout the room, even though it is situated in one place. Parasya Brahmanaha Shaktis Tathedam Akhilam Jagat. Similarly, Parabrahman, that Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he is situated in Goloka Vrindavan, enjoying with the gopis. Simultaneously, by his energies, he is spread all over the universe. He has entered into each and every atom. He has entered into the heart of each and every living entity. Andantarastham Paramanu Chayantarastham. This Krishna is doing. How? As it is explained in today's verse, Antapurusha Rupena. Krishna is situated as Paramatma within the heart. Kala Rupena Yobahihi. And he is also situated as time factor externally. Samanveti Esha Sattvanam. And he exists amongst all the living entities, keeping himself within as the super soul. And Bhagavan, how is he doing this? How is the Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, doing this? Atma Mayaya, by his potencies. So by his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has spread himself everywhere, and by that he is maintaining every living entity. He is acting as the witness of all the activities of the living entity. He is noting down all the desires of the living entity, and he is sanctioning what kind of desire should be fulfilled, what kind of body the living entity should get in his next life. Everything is being decided and controlled. Maheshwaraha, he is controlling everything. Bharta, he is maintaining all the living entities, and he is also simultaneously Bhokta, he is enjoying all by himself in the spiritual world. All these he is doing by the force of his energies, which are acting immaculately, without any error, perfectly in sync, in coordination. They are all working so seamlessly. This is the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we hear that God is maintaining all the living entities, we should not think that, oh, God must be struggling to maintain. No, not required. Krishna is blissfully carrying out his pastimes in the supreme, in the supreme abode of his in Goloka Vrindavan. Simultaneously, his energies are maintaining all the living entities. They are carrying out the affairs of the material universe. It's not like an ordinary human being, an ordinary prime minister of the country who cannot satisfy the desires of a few of the people, or a family member a mother trying to satisfy all the desires, all the tastes of the different members of the family. It's not like that. Supreme Personality of Godhead is eminently capable of maintaining and taking care of the living entities. How? Bhagavan Atma Mayaya, by the power of his potencies. So, by exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, the 25 elements which have been described earlier by Kapila Deva. All of them are adjusted. They are all acting. They are all coordinating their different interactions in such a way as to carry out the activities of the universe in a seamless, perfect, coordinated manner. How? By keeping himself within as the super soul and without as time. And that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is doing by exhibiting his potencies through his energies. So this is what we have to understand. This is the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is how he functions within this material universe and maintains all the living entities. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.